This is about the Sri Lanka's opposition leader, Mr. Sajith Premadas's, the discussions about the land grab at the Yala National Park, because we know that Yala National Park is one of Sri Lanka's best national parks where elephant herds live. It's a natural park and it's way more prominent, Yala, because during the time of 2004 tsunami, there was an American family, a Sri Lankan American family who had come to Sri Lanka for holiday, wildlife tourism, and they were at the Yala National Park, the inner part of the park, in the middle center of the park. So when they were in the inner part of the park on that day morning, Sunday, it was a Sunday, the tsunami 2004. All of a sudden, when the near the Indonesia's Java Sumatra Islands ocean, this the two tectonic plates that makes the planet Earth's land separated. That means the land open up and keep making the two because Earth is not made up like a one big plane like a soil. It made up certain blocks. So the two unusually on that day morning, the tectonic plates open up. There was a gap. The gap open up, and as a result, it's like two cubicles of butter cubicles kept together on a sphere like a ball. So when two butter cubicles separate, move away, there is a gap between them, right? That gap absorbs all the seawater went inside that. And later on, it's because of a nuclear reaction in the core of the Earth, there was a huge nuclear blast on that day, unusually. Due to this huge nuclear blast inside the Earth, in the middle of the Earth, which is about thousands of kilometers below where we live in the down the Earth, similar to the nuclear reactions that occur, the two types of nuclear reactions that occur on the moon, similar reactions happen on the core of the Earth on that day. So as a result, due to this huge blast, what happens is, in a nuclear reaction, the hydrogen atoms, the small hydrogen particles, it has in the middle of a hydrogen atom, a small atom, it's a very tiny particle like a sea sugar drop. In the middle, there is a nucleus. Inside the nucleus, there are another tiny particles called, protons and neutrons, and it can be further subdivided as the US CERN laboratory proved, the European CERN laboratory and the US, the laboratories proved. So, actually, there's nothing like that. It's just the mind formation that we absorb because of our three dimension based on height, width, length. As humans, we perceive that it has some sort of a weight. There's no such weight. Even to the proton or neutrons have no weight according to modern scientists, nucleus particle quantum physics based scientists. But scientists say today from America, Europe, etc., that the protons has a weight, but actually no. It's because we are 3D, we are three-dimensional. We believe that those particles also have a weight and a formation. There's nothing like that. According to Gautama Buddha's teaching, it's only energies there. Okay, so what happened was, due to this huge blast, this there was a explosion in the core of the Earth on that day. And I was supposed to do a lecture on during that week in the University of Ruhuna. I had a scheduled lecture at the Faculty of Management and Commerce, and on that day. But I think what happened was, just on week before, the University of Ruhuna, the Faculty of Management and Commerce, coordinators who arranged my free lecture for their students on management, means leadership, motivation, communication skills, assertive communication skills, informed me that due to circumstances beyond their control, they have to cancel the lecture to the so I said, then please schedule another day. If you cancel this, then they accordingly gave me a day, because it was exactly the day the at the University of Ruhuna. That I was supposed to have the lecture on this day, Sunday morning, for the all students there. But what happened was, on that day only the tsunami took place. That is what I said. This tsunami is not a man-made tsunami. It's a man-made tsunami. It's not a natural tsunami, because during the same period, the Sri Lanka monitoring mission, the Norwegian government's peace process was there with the liberation tigers of Tamil Nadu and the government of Sri Lanka. So this happened. Tsunami took place during this, ceasefire period, and it devastated the east coast. It destroyed the whole northern east coast of Sri Lanka. So the tsunami had been a planted man-made tsunami in the Indian Ocean that caused, I think, nearly millions of people lost their lives, because this tsunami had been done by some interested party in foreign conspiracy, attack to destabilize Sri Lanka during the peace process by attacking the country. And the government, they thought the government would fail because of the tsunami. And then, of course, government, what happened was, after the tsunami, the PTOMS, that was a structure proposed by Venupulle Prabhakaran through his political division Tamil Selvam, to share the tsunami funds with the liberation tigers of Tamil Nadu. Through President Chandrika Bandaranaike said, we are getting international funding, because that time I called US and asked them and told them from a Vallavanta cyber cafe. I called them and told them, one of my relatives, tell the US presidents to help Sri Lanka, because tsunami devastated Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a small country. We cannot do anything now. We are in huge trouble. Please help. If not, Sri Lanka will collapse at that moment. So the next day morning, after next day morning or next day evening, immediately US President Bill Clinton and US President Senior George Bush visited Sri Lanka immediately to the country, and that was the beginning. And all debts, the UK, European Union, America, Japan, debt moratorium happened. They cancelled all debts and said Sri Lanka do not have to repay them, right? And not only that, they provided billions of dollars. So when the dollars came, the liberation tigers wanted to share it with the President Chandrika Bandaranaike. At that time I opposed, and I said money cannot go into the hands of the terrorist. We cannot give money to terrorists until they come into a settlement without dividing the country. So at that point, it didn't work, and neither the government did the tsunami rehabilitation work, because then I proposed tsunami rehabilitation and development authority to do the work. But that came, but tsunami rehabilitation didn't happen, and still there are people who lost houses without houses due to the tsunami. So actually, I proposed a scheme to the President Chandrika Kumar to take care of the children who lost their lives, but that did not happen. So actually, I think because of this situation, this whole tsunami had been done to destabilize the country during that period, but it did not work that way. That's the law, nature's law, the law of karma. So ultimately, what happened was even though the tsunami came, it did not divide our country, and it failed. That attempt also failed, and now the COVID pandemic is a similar attempt, and that would also fail. It already failed. The law of nature, the karma, once again reacted, right? During the COVID-19 pandemic, and all efforts failed, and those who did the wrong things during the United Nations accountability and responsibility investigation, this is the accountability. Those people who lost their lives in US, nearly more than 500,000, European Union, UK, even China, Japan, even Sri Lanka, few people, right? That's how the accountability works. Those who did the wrong things would have to pay the consequences. That's how it works. So now the situation is this. When we look at this situation, the tsunami, okay, and the subsequent events, when we discuss, it's important that the UK and the European Union and the USA at least now drop this political ideology of dividing Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is a historic traditional country in which nobody can touch this land. Consequences would be very disastrous, more than pandemic in future, if any other attempts are made again. right? So that is why they have to, because they are the one who wanted to divide, so they have to take it out this and declare to a declaration saying it was an error in the history, right? And then get out of this. Otherwise, it could cause more damage to those who mess with Sri Lanka's land. So territorial integrity, unitary nature, and the sovereignty is untouchable in Sri Lanka for 2,500 years, and it would be in future also. Nobody can mess with that. Which only people who do it will have to bear the consequences. So now also with regard to the tsunami, we know that in the earth inner core there was a huge nuclear blast on that day. So that, as I said, the nuclear blast happened due to two reasons. That is, one is fusion and one is fission, as the modern nuclear physics, quantum physics scientists in USA. But it's not the case actually. What the modern scientists say is wrong, because now as humans we are 3D. We are also three dimensions. This whole space-time universe is based on space. Space means there has to be 3D, three-dimensional time. There has to be a width, breadth, and the length. And also in the 3D world, space means it's 3D. Space give possibility for a three-dimensional thing to survive. No, so in that way, when the three-dimensional things survive in the space allow only three-dimensional things to survive, and also two-dimensional things. Two-dimensional, if you take a half sheet like A4, it's two-dimensional because it doesn't have a it has a length and it has a width, but it doesn't have a height, a paper, because it's almost not there. Even though it's very small, it's not more. It's like 2D then. 1D means if you draw a line, okay, on a board. If you take a whiteboard and draw a line, it has only one part of it. It's only length. There's no width to it. It's not like a cubicle. It doesn't have a height also. It's 1D. Drawing a line is a 1D. Taking a A4 sheet is a 2D, and a human body or a ball or a computer or a car or anything in the space time universe, in the space, in that meaning, it's a 3D. So these things evolved with the time. The time is there, right? But the space and the time is a myth, and 3D objects, 2D objects, and the 1D object is also not there really. What is there as the model, because we can't investigate the space-time universe. No, scientists, NASA can't investigate the space-time. That's what the Gautama Buddha also said. Don't waste time investigating the space-time because it's infinite. The space, time universe is related to human brain, mind, and cognition. As far as it's a creation of the human, there is a relationship, correlation between there's a positive correlation between the human brain, mind, and the cognition process as taught by Gautama Buddha and the space. That's why whenever, always, if the Big Bang theory happened during, the scientists said the Big Bang theory, according to that, the Big Bang happened in the, in space, right? First of all, there must be a space there. Then I raised the question on my YouTube, how can, before you talk about Big Bang, tell how the space came then. Then there were no experiments, and the NASA said, okay, there is a space-time universe then, after my YouTube. Okay, in that case, right, how the, according to the Big Bang theory, it's basically, it's a little bit, flop, because first the small part dust were there, they were rubbing, and then those particle atoms have protons, neutrons in the middle, and electrons around it, and the protons and the neutrons got together and made a hydrogen, right? They became like one atom, right, with hydrogen particle, and then two hydrogens start rubbing, and it made two hydrogen, helium, like that. Then it all started rubbing. Since these are gases, they rub and they got warm and it exploded. This is how the Big Bang theory is. Then how, if the Big Bang theory explained like that, how the scientists, the US same NASA scientists, National Oceanic and Administration scientists observe, even there are explosions at the corner of the space-time universe. Even now, it continuously there are Big Bangs. Then how can those things happen? Since Big Bang happened billions of years ago, then it spread. It became like a huge explosion, and those particles rubbed the vast volume gas and it became like a huge explosion, and it spread and it become solidified into the soil and the gases and the water or liquids, all chemicals, liquids we get today in different planets were created. Okay, then if Big Bang happened, its maximum duration is up to some duration, right? It may go to billions of kilometers or light years, but beyond that, how can it reoccur then? On what basis does it reoccur? Then I raised this question in my YouTube, but the NASA scientists didn't have answer. How does it reoccur? Every split, there's another Big Bang happening, and space-time universe, they say, expanding. Okay, that's why Gautama Buddha said it's actually a process of brain-mind cognition process, which is correlated to the these space-time universes. Like according to our brain's imagination, according to our brain cognition and the mind, that we perceive as there are explosions that continuously similar to the Big Bang theory in every split of a second continuously happening. New stars are born, other stars become nebulized and they are dying. So this process is related to the human brain mind cognition process. As far as our imagination is there, it's happening. Not that it actually happens. That's not as far as we imagine, we can see that. There's something like that. Our humans system, we think, because we are the one who believe, no, there was a Big Bang theory. Okay, now you believe like that, wrong, false belief. That's why I said believe you can't go. You believe like that, no, without, based on whatever information you believe. Then you believe now, now you same belief you can see, right? It's a belief in the, like a human belief system. Humanly DNA inherited biological belief system with the human brain mind cognition process together with the belief which is like not touchable and the other materials that create this impression we see as it's happening now, like almost like happening. But what the Gautama Buddha said was there's nothing like that. It's just the human brain mind created thing, a belief that we had already believed that in our system. That's why we see it now when we observe through the telescopes. So according to Gautama Buddha's theory, actually, if you take the tsunami on that day that affected and destroyed our country, what happened was, inside the earth inner core, when you look at these particles, take for example hydrogen particle, there is an atom. Inside the atom there are protons, neutrons. So normally a nuclear blast happens, the man-made nuclear blast happens due to fusion or fission. Fusion means during the fusion process, scientists try to insert another like a outside proton into the hydrogen atom. That means scientists in addition to the because the scientist brain because it is the scientist brain that perceive as the atom is there. Atom is a belief. There's nothing like that. We physically see an atom, we physically see protons, we physically see protons, neutrons, electron, but it's not there. It's actually an energy. So as we believe and go, we see there is a proton, neutron. Scientists through fusion and fission insert another proton, or take another from another element like uranium. You can take either you infuse a proton or you take out a proton from the what you believe the nature's creation. You believe there's a nature creator, so you put it one you put it out. At that time, due to the imbalance, scientists believe there's a huge explosion. That is how the nuclear energy comes, radiation energy. So actually, there's nothing like that. It's just the belief that you go on. But that's what Gautama Buddha said. There's nothing called proton. If you divide it, you can go on splitting the proton. As I said earlier, 1 over 2 to the power 0. 2 to the power 0 means 1. So 1 over 1 is 1. Then 1 over 2 to the power 2 means 1 divided by 4. Then 1 over 2 to the power 3 means 2 into 2 is 3, 3 into 2 is 6, 1 over 6. Then as you imagine, you can always see, as in mathematics, 0.1, then you become 0.5, 1 is 1, 1 over 2 is 0.5, 1 over, if you take 1 over, say 1 over 3, we take 1 over 3 means 0.33. So as you see, it becomes 1, 0.5, 0.33. The numbers get small, but always there is a number. It continues as you imagine in the system. Believe system inherited in the DNA, in the human brain mind cognitions, without going out of it, you can't see this. Then you can see, as you imagine, 1 became 0.5, 0.5 became 0.333, like that. It always, there's a digital number goes on. You can split if you go like that. So actually there's nothing there. Actually what's there is only energy. This energy is only, which we have a belief that there is something like that. If you do this, we inherently, due to our belief system, we go with this, right? Due to craving, we have, okay, there is something like that, we have to get it. And due to that belief, okay, we believe your inherited DNA. It's not just the faith or belief you have towards your friend or somebody close. It's an inherited belief in the human DNA. Because of that belief, you believe and do it, then of course there's explosion. If you do fusion and fission, that's what happens. Actually what is there is nothingness. There's absolutely nothing inside it. Absolutely nothing. That nothingness, you, based on the human belief, inheritedly, I'm not referring to normal trust faith, which is needed in the human civilized life, family, friends. Not that. Normally, what I believe here is inherited belief in the human DNA system, in the human biological cells, because of the craving to get things by the cells. Cells want some nutrition, protein, carbohydrates, vitamins, water, minerals to survive. So this inherited cell craving, our body is made of billions of cells, according to Gautama Buddha's teaching, which he explained without any microbiology laboratory. Due to this situation, cells itself has craving to get things, all to get things. So in the brain mind cognition process, we go with the belief there are like this is how things happen. Then it happens. Actually it's there, but our system belief, we can see. When you go out of this belief and the cells, and you take out the brain mind cognition process, you can see there's absolutely nothing. There's actually nothing. Nothing means not even a space. It's complete nothingness. Nothingness is nothing. You can't say nothingness. For example, if you have a lamp and if you extinguish the lamp by blowing air, okay, what happened to the flame of the lamp? Or coconut, okay, take a coconut oil lamp. What happened to the flame? If you take a candle in the church, what happened to the that flame? Not there. No, you can't say nothing is that. It's not there. Like that. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing called space-time universe. There's nothing like that at all. Because of craving, our inherited DNA, biological systems, beliefs which are part of our life. I'm not referring to the normal trust-based, faith-based relations towards close ones and, friends and family and businesses and your school, not that. That is normal thing needed for human civilization, for humans to go forward. But this is inherited DNA belief, wrong system based on craving. Unlimited, infinite wants. If somebody wants food, he or she can say, I want food, this to fulfill a need, right? You are hungry, you must have food. But somebody can want pizza, somebody might want rice and curry, somebody can have fried rice. This way of craving and getting everything, you get it in the mind. That results in a wrong DNA biological, brain mind cognition belief, which we, based on that wrong thing, we go on believing subsequently second degree, third degree things, right? Second degree may be scientific, third degree may be about your family relation, fourth degree may be about workplace, like that. Fifth degree may be your religious space, temple or church or kovil or mosque, synagogue. So because of that only we see this. Actually when you get out of it, you see there's nothing, absolutely nothing there, right? That is the state achieved by the Buddha, who said this and who got out of this original dependent origination theory. He is not part of this system. He is no more. He has nothing, absolutely nothing. He had no motivation, he had no hopes, nothing, because he doesn't belong to this continuous dependent origination theory of the humans, the space or the universes. He is separately independent from this whole process, right? That is the state of the greatest teacher ever, the Gautama Buddha's teachings.